I'm a coder, so
Yeah, yeah. So you just know what all that means. I don't know what any of that
yeah,
means.
it's almost close to JavaScript, if you know what I mean. So PineScript is closer to JavaScript, and JavaScript is like the most powerful front end scripting language.
Gotcha.
So
Oh, you
yeah,
sent the link out? Oh, what's
I,
up, guys? I didn't even see.
I see. I sent it in the chat. Uh,
nice.
yeah, oh, but by the way, not sure. Should get a good crew. Decent crew.
Yeah, let's get it started here.
Being Sunday night, not sure. How many people are gonna set up, but I know that everyone will watch the recording. By the way, um, and so, anyways, yeah. Hey, let's get cooking, man. Um, yeah, let's do it. Welcome. Good evening, Anand. Thanks for coming on, man. Like we were talking about earlier, I've really appreciated your knowledge, your insights, your friendship since we started talking, and have just an immense amount of respect for you. You're joining up on a kind of elite list of traders that we've discussed with and interviewed over the past few years.
Indeed, yes.
With the ranks of Christian Flanders, Oliver Kell, hopefully soon to be Marios, and a few others that we're looking to come on. But anyways, thanks for coming on. I know you host the Twitter Spaces with some people. Thank you again for bringing me on
Yeah,
earlier this year. I think it was, yeah,
yeah,
earlier this
yeah.
year.
This year.
That was a lot of fun, and thanks again for that. But yeah, similar type of style. How'd you get started? Where'd your love for the market and your skill, where did that derive from, man?
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys. Like, the fact that you told all the great names that that have been part of this community, or like, this session, like, just insane that I'm also part of it. This is my first interview as a trader. I've given so
No way, that's awesome.
yeah, honestly, like, I've given so many speeches as like as the tech bro, so to speak, like tech talk and whatnot. But like as a trader, this is my first interview. So like you guys are probably in my milestone, you know what I mean? So
First of many.
first of probably, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, this is insane. Like this is can't even think about it. Like, 3 years ago when I actually started posting on Twitter, I think I even shared it. Like I had literally like 60 followers. I was just, posting for myself. I was just journaling and whatnot, like, and then like good people started noticing me, and now it's just incredible that I have, like, I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking to some of the best traders who even respect my opinion, to be honest. Like that's insane. um, but anyway, like my journey started, like, to be honest, like I was always very much into stocks and markets. Uh, truth to be told, in my family, nobody has any idea about stock market. They think stock market is a scam. They still do. I'm probably an outlier in my family. Like, I've always kind of loved the markets. When I was like even my teens, I used to watch the market. I grew up in India, so I was watching the Indian markets at that time. One great thing was I had my uncle who was the only person who had any idea about markets at all. So at that time, I used to talk to him more, and I try to make it a point to talk less about my interest in markets to my dad, who was absolutely against it. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I started day trading at that time. Like, I figured I was able to kind of make some money. I'll probably make like hundreds, 200s here and there. I feel like a champion, you know what I mean? So that's how it started. Then I really got into more researching about companies and whatnot in my, say, 20s and whatnot. Now it feels like a dream, like, and then of course, like I moved to the US for my graduation, my master's and whatnot. That's how it started, and I understand company at a deeper level. I understand the the income statement, the math behind it. So kind of apply the math and the knowledge, and then, like, the technicals just came later, actually. Like, I was more into fundamentals at the beginning. I think, like I said, in 2019, 20 is when I really started diving deeper into technicals. I was fascinated about Mark Minervini. I was like that he was, I felt I wanted to be him. I wanted to be like him. So I read all his books and whatnot. And then like that's how I started swing trading. Last 3 years, I'm not gonna lie, it's been incredible. Some of the best years I've had, 23, 24, 25. Of course, everyone made money in 2020 and 2021. Probably it feels like it doesn't count at all. It's
That's fair.
fake because everyone made money, but 2025 making money in this year has been a lot more challenging, to be honest. If you are not in the right stocks, in the right teams, you probably got chopped out or like probably even taken losses. So 2025 has been probably the most challenging year in terms of at least last couple of months or so. The chop has been insane. I probably think like you guys would agree as well. If you're not in the right teams, right stocks, it's really possible that we got chopped out a lot. So yeah, I mean that's kind of quick overview.
What would you say like is the percentage breakdown in terms of weighting in your like some of your trade thesis in terms of like story fundamentals and technicals? Like is it pretty imbalanced or where's that line up for you?
Always starts with the fundamentals for me. So even my scanning, it scans for some of the best companies, or like at least the story has to be there. Insane amount of like if not 100% sales and revenue or like EPS growth. At least the story should be there. For instance, Oklo, it never had insane revenue growth, never
Mm,
had EPS, but it always had the story. You know what I
yeah,
mean? With hymns, for instance, hymns always had like the triple digit growth, digit EPS. CoreWeave, same thing. NBIS, same thing. These guys, there's nothing more needed other than that fundamentals. That's my starting point. And then like I would say 50% fundamentals and 50% technicals, to be honest.
nice.
Um, Technicals is more like for trade construction, where to enter, where to exit, and the management of the trade itself. But if not for the story, I'm most likely not involved in the stock at all. If you've probably seen, I've never been involved in some stocks like say TSSI. I've never understood the story. I know you traded it. I've never found time to actually like look into the story at all. So I generally don't trade the name if I'm not even research about the company. So
Nice.
that's kind of how it goes for me. And I understand crypto really well because I've been a crypto bro for a long time. So I understand some maybe the two of the hottest sectors, so to speak, AI and
Yeah.
crypto. I think that's good enough for me. Essentially like that's pretty much the story that's been running the entire year, even last year. Yeah, I mean, I would say like that's where it starts for me. Like my intuition basically grows from there and try to connect the dots per se, and then like technicals will fall into place
So
essentially.
the classic like the fundamentals tell you tell you what to buy and the technicals tell you when to buy
Absolutely,
kind of scenario.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
Yep.
love it.
That's how I got started with hymns. That's how I got started with CoreWeave. That's how I got started with NBIS. So in terms of percentage terms, in terms of dollar amount, these three are my biggest winners for this year. Last year was Reddit. Reddit was a classic story again, like
Yep.
amazing fundamentals and like again like kind of like the AI data kind of a sector. It's kind of its own niche. It's going to be like it's going to support AI applications to scale, and like these guys are essentially giving you the data
Yeah.
for AI. So that's how that story started for me. And again, like 2024 biggest winners for me were SMCI and Nvidia, like
Nice.
probably most people. So again, like that's in that AI team. So pretty much like most of my winners last 2 3 years I've been in that team. I don't feel like I need to do more than that. Like these guys have been moving. These guys have been giving the moves. So yeah, that's pretty much my bread and butter.
You mentioned intuition, so I just wanted to see if what sort of like insights or comments you have on kind of the intersection between intuition, confidence, and conviction. Kind of where that stems from you, or where you derive kind of intuition and conviction from.
Yeah, so great question. It's a pretty complicated thing to explain. Honestly, like I'm really OCD about most of the things. I want everything uh, to be well thought out. Without thought process, I just cannot do this. So that's why some of the random trades I just cannot take. I won't even start trading if I don't understand the story. So I should have researched about the company in this case, like, some of these companies that I understand pretty well. So it starts from there. Then it's about finding the balance, essentially not to use your own gut feel, but at the same time, you're essentially seeing the charts. So in a way, like you cannot enter too early just because you think like this is going to happen. You need that confirmation from the chart, from the price action. So where I was making mistakes earlier in my trading career, I would have been right on the team. I would have been right on the stock, but I would have been probably earlier. Uh, Being too early is a problem too. So that was my problem. I was right on the team. I was right on the stock, but I would have been early. So essentially, meant like when the actual move started, I would have missed the move because I would have been too early, got chopped out, got into a loss or whatever, and probably would have moved on from the name. But like it would still run. Um, so to give you an answer, now what I do is essentially I put that stock in my watch list. If I did my analysis and I knew this stock is going to be a monster, I put that in my top of my focus list. I keep watching it. Now I understand technicals at a really really deeper level. Back when, like even 4 or 5 years ago, I was not this good, to be honest. So technicals is where helps me get into the right entries and exits. And I think that's pretty much the game right now. So understand the story, get the right stocks, get the best stocks, so to speak, and then it's all about like getting the best entries.
What would you say some of those like the best entries are? Like what is like your but by the way, if you look at you are a crypto bro indeed, because at the bottom left I see you have an alert on for Fartcoin. So
Oh, yeah.
living up to crypto bro status.
Oh, yeah.
What would you say like entry tactics? So for example, from what I've seen is and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm actually curious if this is true, that
Yep.
you'll buy a lot more support levels and pullbacks,
Yes.
even undercuts or like just support levels that I might consider as in no man's land, but
Yes.
you see a good spot to enter that. So I'm curious on that.
Yes, exactly. So I think I even posted a few days ago, buy what they crave at the price they surrender.
Yep.
I truly believe that. Everyone wants to get into a stock like, say, NBIS, or everyone wants to get into a stock like CoreWeave, for instance, like few days ago or few months ago. But it's all about like getting the best entry so that like you're not the one who's getting stopped out all the time. So I try to get involved during undercuts, or like essentially like where people think like the trade is done. For instance, recently TEM was a classic example.
Yeah.
After earnings, probably people got in during that gap up, which was a good entry. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching it. I didn't enter at that time, and they faded the entire move on that same day. And I had a support at 57 and 58. It came spot like right there and it bounced. That's where I entered. So
You can pull the chart up too on your screen. I'd be curious to see.
sure, yeah. So let's see, right here. So this was the earnings day, and if
Yep.
you see, um, this was the day when it gapped up. Essentially, it went to 65 on the day. Let me go into 30-minute chart. Uh, and let's see, on that day, 8th August right here. Let's go into 15-minute actually. So you see here, 8th August, it literally gapped up to 65. And 65 was the previous level where I actually sold. So I knew it was kind of going to reject there. And it came right there, exactly to this spot. If you see this
Yep.
here, it came right there and basically tested this as support. So I basically entered here. 58 and 59 were my entries on TEM. And I was actually tracking the 10-minute chart right there.
Yep.
And you see it started to bounce right here. I saw this
Mhm.
belly, and I basically picked up over here. 58.80 or something was my entry exactly. And I added over here when it let's go into 30-minute chart. Now it's it started to move on, yeah, 8th August itself. It closed, I think, around 60 something. And then when it took out this pivot right here,
Yeah.
this pivot, it was a classic, like, it was like fading everyone, fading everyone. Every time, like, people started to feel like, hey, you know what, this is the time, and like, it faded it. This is where I added more. And I still have that pivot from that day. So this is where I added more. So these were my entry points, like 58 and 61, where this was my add point for TEM.
Very
And
nice.
from there, it's been a monster.
Yeah, so that's what, on that second spot is where that's where Manrev had alerted that, and that's where I got in as well. You and I
Yeah.
talked about this already. I got
Yes.
in a little bit higher because I needed to add a little bit more size because I realized, like, hey man, like, you need to be in this actually.
Yep.
So I got in a little bit more a little bit later, but
I remember we were discussing about the same name. I think I was telling you, like, I just added crazy amount of
yeah,
tea at 61. You were like, I added it too, but I don't have enough size or
yeah.
something. You were telling me that, yeah.
Yeah. And I still feel that way. So, that's why I'm glad you brought this one up first. But yeah, I just want to reiterate that line that you said, which was, what was it? The stocks that everyone wants. So will you say that again?
Oh yeah, buy what they crave at the price they surrender.
Yes. What a powerful line. Um,
So yeah, that's been my thesis pretty much. I try to enter a stock where, like, everybody's starting to give up. Let me pull up Oklo. Oklo, that's pretty much how I entered first. So if you remember, on this day we had a news on pretty much the entire nuclear sector. I
Yep.
think it was a news. I don't exactly remember what was the news about. This was a massive candle. I think it was on that day, it was up 12.5%. I didn't enter on that day. I entered on this inside day. I got in pretty much the lows of that day because you see where it bounced exactly on 9 EMA.
Yep.
So on that day was my entry on Oklo. I understood Oklo really well. I've traded this name even before Feb 25, the drawdown. I was trading here. It was
Yep.
a massive winner at that time for me as well. Like, I took this entire run from 20 till not 54. I guess I started selling around 50. So it was already a winner for me before the Feb 2025 drawdown. So I always had this in my top of my focus list, and it fit my narrative, like, AI stock. I understood the story really well. And I didn't enter during this chop. I was more into hymns and other names at that time, which were running. This was not doing anything at all during that entire time. And on this day, I entered. For 3-4 days, it didn't do anything. I was like, what am I going to do? Because, like, I didn't have any cushion. I knew the earnings was coming up. Earnings didn't matter a lot for these names, but still, who knows, right?
Yep.
So at that time, I probably had, like, let's see, I had like 12% cushion. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take it into the earnings. I'm not going to sell. So I held it, and good thing it worked out for me at that time. So was a good move, like 32%. But the move actually didn't even start until this consolidation right here.
Yep.
So I think I was posting on that day too, like, Oklo is setting up, and I feel like, the move hasn't even started. This was the move, and I think this is when the news from Trump administration happened on this day. Man, like this thing has been on a run. Like pretty much Oklo, SMR, LEU, this entire nuclear sector has been going nuclear, pretty much. So yeah, again, like I mean, probably people will be getting stopped out here because like they probably entered on this day closer to the pivot highs, whatever. So I try to wait for my entries and like I try to enter when others are getting stopped out essentially. So that's kind of my mantra.
Very nice. So where then for example on something like this or something even like TEM with those
Yeah.
58, 57, 58, 59 ads, where are you planning your to place your stop? So again, this kind of collides with where do technicals and fundamentals intersect because clearly you like the story, you like the price that you're getting at. Are you stopping at 55? Are you adding to your position at 53? How are you managing that
Yeah.
if it goes against you?
Yeah, exactly. So this was my entry point. I had this pivot on my mind, so my stop would have been basically under this bar.
Gotcha.
If it had closed under this, essentially 55, you could say, there was no trade, and 200 days right there. So I
Yeah.
knew it basically tested 200 day twice. If you see once, it kind of did a doji, and twice, it basically tested twice. So that was like a massive confirmation for me already. And the only reason I didn't enter during this time was again like earnings. I wanted the earnings to be out,
Yep.
and I waited for the earnings to be done. Essentially, I entered on this day. Not gonna lie, I didn't love this candle at all. The next day, this bar, the way it closed, I didn't like that at all. But like because of again like goes back to getting the best entries possible. I entered around 58, so it didn't bother me and because it was still above 9 EMA, it was still above probably 5 EMA as well. There was no reason for me to like worry about it. Although the
Mm.
candle looked ugly, no, not gonna lie. And of course, like it is TEM, like you expect the unexpected, right? Next day, look what happened, right? So some of these thoughts, like they kind of make it in a way they're making it hard for you to like stay in the name. Oklo is similar, pretty much like all the names I've traded, like NBIS kind of does the same thing. Like if you see like on this day, I was actually adding. I was not getting out. Probably some people were getting out. This was right back to 10 weekly EMA.
Yep.
Right. So like some of these names, they kind of make it so hard for us to hold. That's where I think like the conviction of like both having a good knowledge of both the fundamentals and technicals and how it has traded in the past, right? This guy like loves coming back to 21 EMA and 10 weekly EMA.
Yeah.
Similarly, Oklo loves 21 EMA all the time. It comes to 21 EMA and tests and like goes back again. So some of these, like, understanding like the personality of the stock, which I keep talking about, I think that helps a lot in holding through some of these bigger moves.
And then getting to know that personality of the stock, that also comes from the conviction of the story because you end up paying more attention to it. And then, having that focus on those
Yep.
names, again, breeds more awareness of the stock's personality and price action. I mean, it all is circular. It all comes together to create, profit and some wins in some of these. Uh,
Absolutely. Talking about personality, I mean, we shouldn't be like leaving out A-Lab. uh,
right?
Speaking of personalities, this is probably the,
Go. Good job, man. Thank you.
talk about it. Personality. Oh man, like I'm not gonna lie, like some of these days were like brutal for me. I had a 15% position on this. So I had a pretty big size. So let me see. Where did I first enter? So I traded this move not with massive size or anything because like I was not focused on this space at all. Like I said, like
Mhm.
my stocks at that time were HIMS, Oklo, CoreWeave. I was in that space. I was
Yeah.
not in A lab at all, pretty much. So, but I knew ALAB had like monster estimates, like, it was still growing triple digits and whatnot. I wanted to be involved in the name, but I mean, it has a funky personality. Like, even if you remember, I remember trading this name at this time as well. Like, I traded it. See, I mean, I still have some of these,
Yep.
I've charted this, like, back in 2024, I've traded this and all that. It trades wild. It has a wild personality. So I was not very comfortable entering, like, with massive size over here. I was just trading here and there, like, not enough conviction to add size. But this is where I started, like, increasing my position size. I was like, so essentially, like, I saw there was a range, there was a clear range set. So this day I still remember, like, a lot of people were trying to play the breakout. I think
Yeah.
I remember even posting on that day, like, why are you guys playing the breakout on this name? This name has a history of fading everyone during breakout. So I saw this, and second day I entered over here on this bottom, literally. I entered on this day. Uh,
Right.
2, 3 days later, but guess what? I never sold or never even trimmed on this day. I gave back everything. It came back all the way. So I felt miserable. But guess what? There was 200 day, there was 50 day. I was like, man, it's not breaking. It's like, it keeps coming back and revisiting these levels. It's not breaking. So there was no reason for me to sell, because, like, I had a good entry, and like my entries were like 87, 88. I held it. And during the second run, I actually sold.
Okay.
Because
Right.
I think I told you as well. I think you were chatting with me. I told you, you know what? I sold A-Lab, and I'm planning to get back.
Yep.
And it gave back everything again. So I think that was a good move for me. Like, I think, what was it? 87. Let's just say 87. I think I sold around 101, 102. Yeah, that was a 16, 17% move for me. So I was like, I was happy, and like, I honestly didn't think it'll come back all the way. I thought probably it comes back and revisits 9 EMA, but it came back all the way. Of course, it is A-Lab. And if you see, like, it never broke 50 day, it never broke 200 day, right? It kept going there, but it never broke. Not even a single close below some of these, key moving averages. So it always, like, it never went out of my focus list. It was always there. I think I re-entered back on this day.
Yep.
I was chatting with you as well. I got back into A-Lab. I think I was telling you, and you are actually entered on this day as well, if I remember.
I did. I did. Well, I started that day. You and I were talking about this. Like, hey, grabbing a starter on this, and then a good friend in the Discord group who's incredibly smart, incredibly skilled, Dark Oblivion.
Yes.
Also was sending a paragraph long thesis on the stock behavior, on the fundamentals, on why we need to continue to focus on this. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that red day after the inside day on 7/16, got a small piece, and then we sent messages back and forth that had
Yeah.
gotten had gotten the size on the 17th.
Yeah, I mean, next day was, I would say, like, the kicker candle, like, I think Oliver calls it that. Like, that was actually when I was convinced that this is the time.
Yeah,
I use some of these ATR, a little more nuanced stuff, of course,
mm,
like, when ATR reaches above 4, 5, I feel like that's when the actual move is starting. This plots out the ATR itself, and if you see, like, this whole time, ATR hardly even reached 4.
yeah,
So this was when the meat of the move was actually starting. So I was tracking this. The ATR was constantly hitting above 4. And I felt like, you know what, this is when the move is starting. And I put on pretty much all my size at that time. So this was the day, first day, and then this day, I pretty much went all in. So my entries were 88 and 92, I think. Yeah. I
nice.
still have those cost bases. So I'm still holding those lots.
How
So
much? How much have you trimmed of that? And what was your position sizing like in terms
it,
of percentages or whatever?
it was a 15% size for me, A-Lab.
1.5.
1.5, yeah.
Okay.
So I base my position sizing based on the ATR.
Mhm.
In this case, like, this has 11 ATR, so which means, like, if I take, like, a 25% position, I should be ready for a big drawdown, even intraday. So essentially, even if we're going by ADR, like which is like 7%, if I take a 25% position, like my stops have to be like within say 2.5% max. I think I'll talk about some of the metrics that I track, like 2.5% is usually where my stops are. I don't take more than 2.5% loss. So essentially, I was like, that's where like I focus on the entry the most, and I don't want to like buy extended stocks because like I'm not a guy who scales into the stock. I try to enter at the best position size at the beginning itself. I don't scale into. Scaling out is something I do, but while entering, I try to enter full size.
Very nice. To be honest, I found in all of my data as well that I'd be better off on winners and on losers buying the full amount every
Yep.
time on my first initial buy. Um,
Yeah.
and it's yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean my biggest size was again like on this day, and the add-on was on this day. Again, same thing as a TEM, and same thing on NBIS on this exact day. So this was I pretty much went all in on this day. This was a 20% size for me on this day. And I was actually incidentally chatting with Oliver on that day. I was like, I told him right there. I literally said, Ollie, I just added NBIS. I just loaded it up. And he told me, yeah, I did too. So, so he was like, and like, I mean, just look at this move, right?
Oh yeah, it's incredible. I mean, you can't script it better than I think there was like some sort of offering, or there's some
Yes.
news. I think it was an offering
It
that
was an offering this move. This was an offering.
yep.
Not gonna lie, I had a big position on this day as well.
Okay.
So when it broke this prior bar low, I got out
Yeah.
on this day. Lucky for me because it would have been a massive like if I didn't get out on that day, probably next day I would have still gotten out, but it would have probably given me a bigger drawdown. So
And if you took that drawdown, the chances of buying it back might have been much lower too.
yes, yes, yeah. I mean, exactly. So, and yeah, I mean, this was another case of exactly, following my rules of like buying when others are kind of getting out, so to
Hmm.
speak. Especially on some of these monster names, that's pretty much what I've seen. These shakeouts, again, like I want to probably revisit my worst memory, or like my worst experience of app. I'm not gonna lie, like
Yeah, me both.
please don't remind me. I I had insane size over here. I think I had like massive position, like I think 25% position over here. Okay.
This is
Uh,
the same. This is the same trade. You and I we didn't even talk that. I didn't even know who you were. You didn't know who I
yeah,
was at this
yeah.
time. I
But
took the
that
same exact
that
trade as
base
you.
right there on APP is actually the base that that guy in our Discord, Dark Oblivion, used to compare to ALAB.
This was
Oh,
our
nice,
A lab
nice.
model. Yeah,
Nice. I think I posted that comparison too. It reminds me of app. This base
crazy.
app reminds me
Like
of
the
that.
personalities of it, you know?
Yeah, it exactly has the same personality too. A wild stock. So I had a massive position. I traded it really well actually. Like it I took it to like what 80, 84, something like that. But man, I got absolutely smoked over here.
No, just
I basically kind of moved on from the sticker. And we know what happened after that.
yeah.
It was a painful experience for me. Like, I had such a massive size. I felt like I took amazing entries, but I didn't make it count. Look, look what happened after that. I traded it. I mean, I traded it here and there. Like, took it to some, probably like I should have done way better than what I did essentially. But like, always I go back to this talk and I revisit like what could I have done better, blah blah blah, and all that. So I was kind of playing that game over here with ALAB, and pretty much with TEM. I always go back. Some of these monster stocks before their monster moves, they do all these wild shakeouts, and I had to rewire my brain to change where like try to buy those shakeouts rather than getting shaken out. And I have two time frames that I watch all the time, of course, like weekly. And if you see weekly, where let's see, APP.
It looks perfect.
You know what I'm saying? So if you see APP, it started bouncing from I use EMA, people use SMA, that's fine. Like, I use EMA on weekly and daily. This is 20 week, white line is 20 week, and the cyan is 10 week. uh, I mean, it's just more clear, and like, it moves in a nicer way than SMA. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I try to compare this. This was the massive August, like Japan carry trade, whatnot. Like the way Palantir app and all these guys came back. I always revisit some of these monster stocks, like what exactly happened, how they actually shook out people. If you compare A Lab was pretty much doing the same thing. Every day was getting like, shake. Look at the weekly chart now. Now on the hindsight, you'll see like it was barely breaking the 20-week EMA. And look where it bounced finally before started moving, 20-week EMA, right? So these two time frames are always on, every day I'm watching this, and I exactly know where my 20-week is, where my 10-week is. TEM, if you see, again, same thing. When it undercut, this is the 30-week, the green is 30-week. But if you see, like, when stocks set up, when EMS are stacked like this, that's when the moves are going to start happening. That's kind of my intuition. Like when EMAs were stacked, if you see over here, there was no setup. It was just a wild run because of that, Nancy Pelosi news and whatnot. But it's way better here. Like this is a setup. There was no setup here. Right? So these are some of the cues that I follow, and of course, like I said, the ATR is something that I follow. If you see, TM hasn't even like broken 4 EMA, so imagine what happens if it starts breaking 4 EMA. And I don't know if you guys track this. I do it a lot. I've learned it even from Lance. Lance actually uses this a lot too, apparently, like,
Bollinger Bands.
Bollinger Bands.
Yeah.
So I have a scan for this too, like Bollinger Band squeeze, and Bollinger Band's momentum. So
Yeah.
I try to enter when the momentum actually turns on, essentially. So if you see right now, it's in momentum. This green indicates it's in momentum. So, and if you see these bars are expanding, which means the move is just barely starting, right? So some of these are like my massive cues to, like, and it was squeezing like insanely over here. I knew the move was coming, and I knew like it was not downside because I saw the earnings report. I was like blown away. How is this stock down? This stock should have been ripping 20%. So it was a gift to buy at these levels, to be honest. This shakeout was such a great buy. It was a no-brainer buy for me.
There's
Uh,
so many stocks that do that where there's a catalyst or earnings and we're sitting there and we're like, how is this not up 20% today?
yep.
And then it just people who overthink that they get shaken out and stuff, you know. I actually had a question.
Yep.
As far as it comes when it comes to taking profits, which is probably one of the hardest things to do in the game. Um, I know you like to positionally trade some higher conviction names like your NBIS or those kind of names. How do you go about selling a really big winner too early, like an APP versus protecting your profits,
Yeah.
right? That you make on the run. How do you go about that and approach that?
Yeah, good question. Let me go back to hymns, which gave me a, I would say, bittersweet experience of trading this name. Uh, so I think I've even shared how I trade some of these monster moves, position trade along the way. Um, I basically, when I see 25% profit, I try to get out, or like I try to trim at least a third of my position size. So usually, like, imagine like I entered on this day on hymns. So this was literally the day I entered on hymns.
Nice.
I even posted on that day. I entered hymns on this day, on this inside day I entered. And I think on this day when it was gapping up, I sold half of my position. Not even because like it was at that time, like market was still kind of figuring out, you know what I mean? It was still
Yeah.
early in April. So I was like, this was like a 45%, 50% move for me at that time. So I was like, you know what, I'm getting out 50%. And guess what? Like it next day it pulled down like all the way to the 10-week EMA. So in a way, to answer your question, like if I'm seeing 25% profit, I'm getting out a third of it. If I see like say 50% profit, I'm getting out the next third. From there, like I'm just trailing the EMAs pretty much.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And then you said most of your stop losses you try to keep in that 2 to 2.5% area.
Yep, pretty much. I did all the metrics for the last couple of months. My average loss, let me see, for August is 1.8%.
Nice, very nice.
My average gain, because of some of these monster moves with ALAB and app and NBIS, it's 21% for August.
Beautiful.
For July, it was 15 and a half. June was when I was getting absolutely chopped. So June was more like 12.3 something. So, but like losses, unless there is a gap down, which happened with HIMS
Yep.
on this day. So, I mean, I want to talk about it. Like this was, I traded HIMS pretty well, I would say, like, until this point. Uh, until this point. I entered on this day really well, like amazing entry. I would say like I never sold a single share on this day. It was gapping up. I remember Braco was in that too. I remember he was posting on that morning.
Yeah, and I didn't sell it either.
Oh yeah, I didn't sell. I when it broke down and when it was like breaking down, like right here, I sold right here. Basically, I should have. How much did I give back? 13%.
It's a
I gave,
big move.
yeah, I didn't sell a single share. I gave back, essentially it was kind of a break-even trade. You could say like what, 10%. But like the position size that I had, again, I had like a 20% position size. It was imagine selling it here versus selling it here. Like, it was a massive difference. I was like not happy about this at all. So from this point, I felt like not comfortable with this name, but like I still traded it because it was respecting the EMAs. You know what I mean? So, um, this, like imagine, like before this, if you didn't see this, this was a classic cup and handle,
Yeah.
except for this deadly candle, deadly bar right here. Like this was, nobody would say like this chart looks bearish. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was in that. I still had like I didn't have like enough conviction. I didn't have like massive size because like I kept. If you see, like it was trading so choppy. So I probably had like 12% position size or whatever. So let's go back to the real time. So on this day, I was fortunate. I was watching the market on that morning. I remember 7:15. I was like already scanning on that morning. Then 7:30 or so, we got the news about this NVO, whatever. My cost basis were right here, about 54-ish. Because I got stopped out, I got back in on this day, somewhere here. So I had a 54-ish cost basis, you know what I mean? So it was gapping down, but like the news was not like fully digested at that time. I was early because I was watching the market
Yeah.
at the time. I started selling it around 57. I'm putting the bids on like 57, 58, 56. It's everything is getting filled. 54. Literally, that was my break even. You know what I mean? Like it's I'm out. And then like I start chatting with Oliver because I knew he had a bigger position too. I was like, did you sell? He was like, no, bro, I didn't sell. I was like, no, what the, like really, like it's gapping down. Like he was like, man, I fucking hate this ticker and whatnot. He was so freaking mad about this. Like he
Oh, I
never.
bet. I bet he was so upset.
Yeah, like I mean, like I think he sold eventually. But like, man, this was a brutal. I'm pretty sure a lot of good traders on this day got absolutely knocked out by HIMS.
Yeah,
So
that's
Yeah.
like a
You have
deep
to
seat kind of moment, you know?
yeah,
really. It is.
Just
yeah.
like a great looking chart just gets demolished out of nowhere. It happens, you know?
Yeah, so I kind of got lucky because like I was up, I was watching, and I was like putting the bids on. The moment I saw the news, I knew, oh, this is not good at all. Literally, it it felt like the brand is going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
Now they're getting into like the shady parts of like, hey, you know what, you're basically like misusing my brand. You're taking my drugs and trying to like, sell it to other people by discounting what I do, blah, blah, blah. It never immediately I got the impression that, you know what, it's out. I'm done with the stock. So from then on, I've not even traded the stock. That was the last day I traded this. I didn't even trade this move. Honestly, I didn't care. I was like, I'm done with you. So yeah, I mean, tell you about my losses. Like, I mean, this has been a bittersweet experience. One of my, I would say like better performer in terms of like upside, and also like I gave back a lot of gains on HIMS.
That was a lot of those like AI stocks for me back in DeepSeek. Pretty similar
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
What is like, you talked about kind of that lesson of missing out on some of the move of APP, or at
Yep.
least not in the same size as in some of like your winners in 2024 and 2025 since. What did that lesson teach you? Like what's the main impact of that lesson? And also I guess more at the root of the question is, what is one of the most impactful lessons of your trading career, like moments or kind of just impactful moments and lessons in your trading career?
Um, yeah, I think the most painful moment was as a trader, to be honest, was app. It gave me a lot of lessons. I went studied that move again and again and again because I felt like I had it, but I blew it. Like it was kind of such a I mean, I would say like enlightening experience because I went back and studied back and forth, back and forth. Um, and what I found was market tries to literally like take you out all the time. They try to fake you out, and how to like have that resilience to get back on a stock that you truly believe in, and when the technicals are also supportive, you know what I mean. So it's not like buying a broken chart when the stock is coming back and like reclaiming all the EMAs, basically undercutting and like reclaiming. That's when like you have to enter back again. I never had that courage before, to be honest. When I get like absolutely faded by a stock, especially like when a stock, something that I believe in that stock, and I get faded. Usually, like back in the day, before I'm experienced, I used to like just delete that ticker and just move on.
Mm.
That is something that I learned, that you should never move on from a monster, a prime monster. Watch it, like these kind of shakeouts happen all the time. Palantir was a prime example, right? Um, let's go and revisit this day. Not April. Let's go. I still remember that day.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
August 24th. Um, it literally came back all the way to $20. And on that day, it closed.
That was a
Uh,
year ago. One
yeah,
year.
a year ago. It literally came to, the low was 21.23. It closed at 24.42, literally at the highest. And the earnings was one of the best earnings at that time. So this shakeout, I'm pretty sure almost everyone got faded. Like everyone probably got stopped out on this day. Me too. Like, I basically got stopped out. But the best thing was I got back into it on that same day. So those are some of the experiences that I learned. I believe like getting back into the same stock that you got stopped out is a superpower. And more so on the same day when it actually.
Kel is actually very good at that, like getting stopped out of something and being able to buy it back like literally the next day. He's
Yeah,
so good. He has such a short-term memory when it comes to that stuff. It's incredible.
yeah, I actually learned from him. He tells me all the time, like, you feel like you actually belong in trading when you can actually enter on the same day when you feel like you got stopped out and you got absolutely smoked, and the stock reverses and comes back. If you have that courage and if you have that system to enter back, that's when you actually have a really good system. It's not like you just keep holding with hope. You get out, you get stopped out, but like when it comes back and starts meeting your criteria again, you get back into it.
Yep.
So that's the game, literally.
I have a question for you. I had actually asked this TS. I think TSR asked you this question on Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe we were doing like a little lesson. We were going back and looking some older trades, and it was regarding an Nvidia, move that he had missed because he mismanaged the trade or whatever. Now on that APP trade,
Yeah.
I know you took home a big lesson on that, right? That will stick with you forever.
Mhm.
Um, would you have rather been able to sit through that and caught that whole move, with the size that you had, or would you have rather messed it up and took that lesson with you forever?
I feel like the fact that I messed up and the fact that I went back and revisited this multiple times, I don't know, I lost count how many times I revisited this. I believe this has made me a better trader. This experience of going through this, I would say like horrible experience because like the fact that I did everything right except hold or like get back. Uh,
Hmm.
man, like yeah, that definitely made me a better trader. I feel like this experience will keep me grounded and also like um, essentially like I will keep replaying this in my mind in future of what a monster stock can do and still go back and like probably put in what 4x from there. So
Yep.
yeah, that I definitely think like I would rather go through that experience now rather than later.
It's such a powerful question, Brecca.
Yeah,
That
it is.
you asked is, would you trade that lesson for capturing that move? Um,
But you got
because
to think a lesson learned like that. I mean, how much more money is that going to make you in the future? Having lived through that and been through that,
Exactly.
versus having to find out later. Yeah, that is a good question. I don't know how I thought. I don't usually think of good questions like that.
Oh, that was an amazing question for sure. Like, the fact that you asked me, it literally made me think, and I truly believe like it made me a better trader.
yeah, I'm just reflecting back on many of those lessons, and believe me, there are plenty to choose from, and kind of like trying to ascribe what percentage of profit like that missing certain moves earlier on
Mhm.
actually netted me like in the in the future. And obviously like you'll never know that answer, but like the benefit of
Yeah,
some of those, I guess painful experiences,
yeah,
what they can have. Only though, only if you do what you said, which is go back and look at it and look at it some more and
yep.
look at it again and then take action the next time.
Yep. SMCI was probably at that time one of my biggest trades. I probably cannot even imagine I executed this trade so well at that time. So this goes back into that happy memory, how I did well. APP will go into my kind of like the other side, but
Mhm.
I actually traded this move as well. But again, like this was the meat of the move. I think probably a lot of people will know this move.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had all these lines. I don't know where it went. Okay, anyway. But yeah, so this was I got this so right. I still cannot believe I got it so perfectly. So I was into this on this day. Uh it went I didn't sell or anything because like it basically came back and revisited like the 50 day. Uh man, like I cannot believe what happened after that. But yeah, I mean this is another one that I keep going back to. Why I traded this and how I traded this, what lessons I learned from this experience of like trading this. Um, Again, I had a pretty decent size. I think at that time I think I had like 17% size or something.
Mhm.
It literally 3x'd, right? So from here, I think my entry was pre-split. I still remember 278, I believe, was my entry. Somewhere here was my
Nice.
when it was taking out pretty much all the
That's
EMAs.
crazy because I've talked to so many traders who have either completely mismanaged this and missed the whole move or traded it perfectly. Like no in between.
Yeah, no in between, right? Like exactly. That's so I was actually trading with one of my other buddies as well. So we both were kind of doing a tag team, and like literally we were training together, and we captured this entire move. Literally the entire Twitter was hating on this stock at that time. I still remember. Man, like this is a bubble, blah blah blah, whatever. Like in a
Yeah.
month, basically 4x, or like, is it 4x? Yeah, I got a 3x. I know for sure. Um, so I sold on this day right here. I think I posted pre-market or something. Man, like this is probably the best trade of my career.
Yeah,
At the
Kel did too. He sold it that morning. Yeah.
yeah, 1062. One. Yeah, exactly. $1,000 and 62. Yeah, exactly.
I
That
had
was.
my biggest trade shorting it that day, actually. So
Oh wow. Okay. There you go. Yeah, I mean it was a classic parabolic short, right? Like
classic, yeah.
look at this move. Like literally, like in a month, the stock went from 280 to $1,000 and basically $1,000. Literally like it 4x, you can say. Technically not a 4x, but almost. Uh, and how far was it from the 50-day? How far was it from literally the 5-day? MSTR was exactly the same. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
27% from 5 EMA. It was a no-brainer. I sold it pre-market. I literally sold
Gap
it.
up is a gift for short side and for long side profit
That's a
takers.
gift. That's yeah, it's a gift. You have
I
to take
mean,
that.
trust me, like, I felt like absolute genius on that day selling it pre-market. I felt like, man, what the hell? Like I did this. And like, of course, like few months later, app gives me an experience of like I would never forget on the other side. Market is such a leveler.
Hey, I have one more question. What would you say are some of the most common characteristics amongst like some of your biggest winners over the last few years?
High growth, high momentum, um, pretty much earnings, high revenue, like triple digits revenue, EPS. Those are pretty common characteristics. So right now in this year, the best winners were CoreWeave, same characteristic. NBIS, same characteristic. ALAB, same.
Yeah, they all kind of fit under that umbrella. I think that's something a lot of people should, a lot of traders should incorporate more. Even just trying to get a basic understanding of the story, right? I
Yep.
mean, that's kind of the way, I like to trade. I don't, I don't know as much about the fundamentals, say, as you do.
Mhm.
But all my best trades are something more than just a chart pattern. There's
Yep.
something else there, like some fuel, right, to power that move. Um, and I'm curious, have there ever been any, really, big fundamental or stories that you've really liked, and you've actually, gotten it wrong? Does that happen from time to time?
If I can call app that I got wrong, definitely. I got that wrong. Let's see. Let me go back to my watch list. What did I not trade well? Let me go there. So I'm trading pretty much all the high growth stocks only. I'm not even looking into some of these FANGs, mega caps, because like what's the point, right? So
Yeah.
uh, something that I got really wrong. Just trying to think.
Hey,
Uh,
probably not many if you can't think of any, so that's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure your
I
analysis is
can't
spot
think
on.
like, I mean, when I knew the story really well, that's when I enter, or like I even have this criteria to enter the stock. So unless I get the complete story wrong, which usually doesn't happen because like these are going by numbers, right? The fundamentals don't lie. Charts sometimes lie, like the hymns that we found out, but
Yeah.
the fundamentals don't lie.
Or it may just come down to market conditions,
Exactly.
sometimes,
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, you reminded me of Feb 2025, the DeepSeek. So man, one of the worst losses I've ever had on that day. I think I was pretty heavy on VST on that day. Uh, yeah, right here.
God.
Yeah, I was pretty heavy on this day. Yeah, one of the brutal losses I've ever had. I
Horrible.
sold in the 140s and whatnot. Like it basically bottomed at 130, whatever. I didn't even like look at the price. I just sold it. So it was a 20, 30%, almost 30% gap down. I had Nvidia, which also gapped down 12%, oh no, 15%, I believe. I still remember that day. It was a brutal day. Um, yeah, 17%. So I had Nvidia, I had VST, I had GEV, these three. So,
Fun day.
Yeah, that's a nice Monday morning.
yep. So these were my go-to stocks. Oh yeah, BE, another one. I still remember.
Yep.
BE, man, I killed it from here all the way here. I never knew this is gonna happen next day.
Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, there's nothing you can. That's like a black swan. You can't
It
avoid
was a
that.
black swan. It was a black swan. So yeah, I mean, th- uh, yeah. So I think if you want to say like something that I got wrong, I don't know if I can control that, but yeah, this was the moment I felt like, man, life is coming down, crashing at me, literally crashing on me. So yeah.
That was the worst losing day in terms of dollar signs
Yep. Yep.
ever. And yet my worst losing day yet.
There will be a bigger one, sir,
I
at
hope
some
so.
point.
If there is a bigger losing day, that means that
You're
I've
doing
got,
something right.
yeah, right. Um, what is what's one of your goals? I guess for actually two questions.
Mhm.
First, I want to go towards this. What do you do? I know maybe losing streaks have been maybe a little bit fewer and far between in the past few years, but I know everyone has them. And then winning streaks. I saw you and Brocco talking about this a bit on Twitter this weekend.
Yeah.
Kind of what's your approach mentally and tactically in a if you're kind of in a losing streak or in a winning streak?
Yeah, I mean, June, like I said, I was getting absolutely chopped to pieces. I made really good trades in some of the names that I already discussed. But then the market was kind of so choppy. I was getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out. Like, I was taking those small losses, but it adds up, you know what I mean? So I literally stopped trading for a while. So that's what I usually do. So if my last three trades didn't go well, that was like a yellow flag to me. And if my the last five trades didn't go well, all of them were losses, I will just stop trading. Literally.
What does stop trading look like?
I don't take a trade for like few days until I feel like I can get the feel of the market again.
You're
Which
still watching the market, still doing
I
stuff
will watch the
on your
market.
team.
Yes, every day I will watch the market, but I won't take a trade.
Yeah.
Similarly, like the one that I'm going through right now, on in terms of winning streaks. So last week, I literally got like everything right. App, NBIS, ALAB, Reddit, Hood. I've been positioned.
TEM.
Yeah, TEM was this week, but like literally everything went well. So I was like, man, this cannot be true. So I was like, for 2 days, I literally stopped trading. I didn't take a single trade. I was just watching the market. My positions were still doing well. I was just watching it. That's something that I've incorporated recently. Both usually, like, on losing streaks, I'm much more cognizant of that. When I see a streak
Yeah.
coming up, I will stop quickly. But winning streak is something that I had to refine, so to speak. Some of
And
these,
that is really hard to hit nail trades like that perfectly and just basically put your trading to a halt. That
yeah.
is like so much harder than it
Mhm.
sounds. Like I've been there
Mhm.
so many times. It is
Yeah.
so hard because you just feel like you're doing everything right and you just begin to think that, it doesn't matter what the market does, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep getting it right. That feeling of you just feel invincible almost. And I
Yeah.
imagine your slower positional kind of trading style and being very picky with what kind of, stocks you like to enter
Yes.
probably helps with that because I imagine the opportunities you look for maybe don't come around like every day. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So it's probably a lot easier versus someone who's maybe like actively, day trading or aggressively swing trading a lot of stocks at a time. So I imagine that helps. Your kind of picky style.
Totally, totally. I think solar is a theme that I was talking about even last week. So I had only these two names. I didn't even trade run. This I just improvised on the fly on that day. I had FSLR. I got stopped out on the day PPI was released. Pretty much, I got stopped out at 182. I remember that. My cost basis was 184, I'm guessing. So pretty much for 1.5% or 1% something, I took that small loss. So that is something that I've recently incorporated. I'm happy to just when something is not working, like get out for small losses, very, very small losses. But I'm like in on the lookout to get back into the market. So this environment has been that way where like if we didn't get even on that same day, if we didn't get that theme right, you can be down like 4 or 5% on a single day. Market has been moving so wild. Um, Again, on the other side, if we get that right on that day, like we can be up like 3 or 4% on a single day. So it's been so up and down like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm out. I think when was PPI? Was it Friday, Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday pre-market.
So yeah, pre-market. So I got stopped out here, but I never even like, took my eyes off on FSLR. I was watching it every day. Next day I saw this. Uh, at one point it was literally down, like it was breaking down below 21 EMA, but I still had this on my mind. This can happen.
Yep.
And it didn't exactly happen. It actually closed below 21, 20 day, if you want to call it, right? But like the next day, I had this like, pivot right here. So first thing, if I can go into the 15-minute chart, I can probably
This
show that.
15-minute chart is absolutely beautiful.
Yes, yes. So if you see, I didn't enter anywhere here. I saw this, right? I saw this and I entered right here on that day.
Nice.
I literally got back the same cost basis that I entered the previous day or Tuesday, I believe, where I entered. So this consolidation is where I entered FSLR.
God, beautiful.
Yeah.
So I didn't know the news was coming. I was even asking Patrick on, like, I was actually working. I was at office. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, I went into a meeting room. I saw like some of my stocks gapped up and like gave back. And like NBIS was recovering, App was recovering, blah blah blah, and all that. So but the solar stocks were like green in this market. I was like, something weird is going to happen. So I didn't even know the news was coming, nothing. So after this move happened, Patrick was actually DMing me and I asked him, hey, what was the news about? I didn't even read the news because I was not following up the news. And then he told me like there was some news. But but like I said, like the moves were actually setting up weeks in advance,
Yeah.
not even days. It was setting up. If you see like this chart, if you see the
Oh,
weekly,
100%.
this was setting up for weeks. The move just happened essentially on that day. But like if you look at this monster weekly, similarly for SEDG2, um, it barely even broke 10-week EMA, right? Not even a
Oh.
single close below 10-week EMA. So the moves were setting up. It was just a matter of like getting that catalyst, and I think we got that catalyst on Friday.
Yeah, dude, it's so surprising how often like those, the chart sets up and that news comes in pretty much just at
Exactly.
the perfect spot. It's absolutely insane. It just catalyzes the move. Like the
Yep.
timing, especially even on the FSLR 15 minute, like the timing of that is just like, someone was watching that chart. They're like, okay, send it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, again, like I think I posted it real time. This move, I think I posted the 5-minute chart. So I think I have 3 time frames here. So I have a lot going on here. So pardon me. So I use some of these. So this was Oliver Kell who taught me this. He
The
told
pivot points.
the pivots. Yeah, he told me
Yeah.
like start using that. I was like, man, this is awesome. So so I started using.
Yeah, he loves those.
Yeah, yeah, he loves those. So this was his idea, so I incorporated that. But yeah, so if you see the 5-minute chart of Solar Edge, this was textbook, man. This was just insane. So if you see this, like, look at this move. It basically, I think my first initial entries were somewhere here, I believe. I need to go back and check my cost basis. 26 something. And then I went degen mode here, literally. I went crazy here. And then like because like there was no other stock, nothing was setting up. And I knew like I always had
And
a
solars don't stand out like that often,
yes. Yes.
There's a character change for
The
sure.
character changed. So I was like, I was telling my buddy, like, he was asking me, like, hey man, like, this, what are you trading today? I was like, I'm just focused on solar stocks today. He was like, no, there's nothing happening. No, I feel like something is going to happen. I can see it happening. So, and then like this happens, and he was like, bro, you're fucking kidding me. Like, how do you know? I was like, no, I didn't know. I was just watching it
Just
for
prepared for it. Just prepared
yeah,
for it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like we were just talking about, like this didn't set up on that day. It was setting up for weeks, if not days. So the move just eventually happened on that day. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reviewed that in my Evernote as like a kind of top opportunity kind of trade, and I looked at the timing of all of them, and I was convinced that there was someone big who was ready to load all of these,
Yeah,
and they just needed some news to just create liquidity, and they just slammed it, and it was gone after that. I mean, everybody was, I mean, everybody, I feel like a lot of people kind of had eyes on the Solars. They
yeah,
just needed a reason to go, and then everybody was all in. I mean, you knew that move wasn't going to stop.
exactly.
That was crazy.
Exactly. So I just entered, and I didn't even look at it for a while, because I had that confidence it's going to go because it was basing for so long, like when they say, like, longer the base, the higher the space. So I knew it was going to break out, like great. Like, intraday I got 22% on Solar Edge. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Gosh, yeah.
so
Dude, you and I, again, we traded this like exactly the same on FSLR and SEDG. It's the same thing down to the stop. The days prior.
yeah,
And I actually had gotten out on, I can't remember. It might have been Wednesday. It might have been earlier in the week. No, it was actually last Friday. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I ended up getting out of that the week before. So I was in a little bit earlier than that.
yeah,
And then yeah, I switched over. I didn't get back in FSLR. Unfortunately, I wish I did because that's the one like that I actually understand fundamentally a lot
yeah,
more.
yeah,
FSLR, but on this move SEDG, I was able to capture, like I said, around the same spots, a little bit higher. My averages.
yeah,
I added a few more times even on the way up. Like entries, I'm like, man, I probably shouldn't be buying this at
yeah,
this spot right now,
yeah.
intraday, but I just wanted more of it.
Yeah, I mean, at least at best, this can be a good winner intraday. You know what I mean? So, and then you
Yeah,
can kind of trim down size and, like, wait for a pullback in future.
yeah,
So, I think this is a common name that I've seen with many people. Galaxy. I've traded this before pretty well. Um, so this right here was, I think, my entry on that day. Like, uh, recently I've not traded this name really well. So I think it's not going anywhere. It's doing the A lab thing again. You know what I mean? So even
hopefully.
I love the story. I think this is one stock that I think everyone can keep an eye on. I believe there's some legit awesome stuff that this company is doing. I've spoken about this a while ago as well. So I believe this is one to keep an eye on. This literally has everything going on. You want to call crypto, you want to call AI, HPC. They got everything going on
Kind of
for
fits into a few baskets. Yeah, that's
yes,
nice.
yeah.
I have one more kind of final question for you on my end. So do you have any, kind of bigger goals, for the rest of the year, or even just looking forward in your, kind of trading career? Any big focuses that you want to work on going forward?
Um, that's a good question. To be really honest, I feel like um, how to say that? Like, I feel like I can definitely improve on certain aspects where, like, uh, on days when I'm not doing well, I kind of get too hung up on myself. I get too, like,
Oh,
I feel like,
100%. I get it. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, the mental aspect. So I think that's where I feel like I can improve a lot more. I feel like I can put some of these, like the fundamentals, technicals, really well together. But the mental aspect of, like, not getting too down on yourself on, like, so say the red days. I'm pretty good on green days. I stay humble. I feel like, there's nothing, like, we can get hit on hit really bad on red days. But on really like bad days, I get really down on myself. So I think that's where I feel like I can improve.
Yeah, I think everybody does. That's a tough one, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to look back on it because, like, I mean, I'll have points, where I'll sort of get down on myself for a week or two
Yeah.
weeks, and then I just look back and I'm like, man, I just wasted so much time, just
Yeah.
like, throwing a pity party or whatever. Like, what good did that do at all? You just got to move on. That's just how the game goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, June 1st or second week, I had one of the worst days of the year. Um, I I was like, for like a week, I was just so down on myself. But the one thing is, like, I have this insane perseverance. Like, I just go back and look at the charts again and again. What could I have done better? How could I have done better? I kept revisiting. Oh, you know what? Like, this is where on the day, I think you probably remember, it was a Monday where growth stocks got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh, I remember 100%.
so on that day, I was like, it was absolutely insane for me. Like, it was not a good day. So I think for a week, it took me a while to recover from that. Like, in a way where, like, I'm kind of back to my mojo, trading without any fear, no inhibitions. Like, it took me a while. But yeah, I mean, that's where I feel like I can improve. I kind of joke about it, like, I post on Twitter, like, what, like, bad day, like, growth bro, blah blah blah. But like, it hurts me a lot. You know what I mean? So yeah. So
Any final parting words for to expedite a trader's learning curve for those listening that
yeah.
want to be in a be a better trader? Any words of wisdom to expedite that for them?
Just reps, man. Honestly, like, that's uh, no book can teach the repetitions that we can actually, like, what we can do, what the muscle memory that we build through just reps. So some of these moves, like, like I was explaining about A lab and TM, these are some of the things that I've seen before. I've seen this before, and there's a high chance that this is how it's going to play out, and nobody can teach you that. It has to come from within, and that's when you have that conviction to size up, you know what I mean, and also have that risk management, to have the risk hygiene, to, like, when you're wrong, to identify that and get out and not just overstay. Those are things that cannot be taught by anybody. No books can teach you that. You can go through it, and they'll say, you know what, if it breaks this pivot, you can get out. If it breaks 21 EMA, you can get out. But until you go through that experience of, like, seeing for yourself and playing it through your mind, after seeing the chart, after seeing, like, the price action play out, there is no substitute for that. So yeah, reps, like, just keep going through the previous monsters, just keep revisiting the charts, go and study the prior winners, like I was talking about, like the Nvidias of the world, SMCs of the world. Keep watching those charts from, like, the the I still go back and study those charts from the dot-com era, like, how these stocks topped out, and those experiences are just insane. And though I use some of that experience to sell some of these, like, SMCIs of the world near the top. Reddit, I got out near 200 in Jan 2025. So some of these experiences that you just carry forward, and, like, you can just use for your own trading journey. So yeah, reps, that's all.
Again and again and again. I'm reminded of that quote from the motivational speaker. Gosh, I forget his name right now. But
Yeah.
it's not over until I win. You
Yeah.
mentioned the perseverance and the reps, doing it again and again and again
Yep.
until you get it right, and then you learn and you just repeat
Yeah,
over.
you just repeat, like, you never get it right just for once, right? Like, you make mistakes along the way, and, like, you incorporate some of those learnings, and you keep, iterating over whatever you went through. That's I mean, if it was so easy, like they say, like, everyone will do it. It's not easy.
And I don't think there's anything necessarily unique that makes it difficult.
Mhm.
But I think it's the longevity that's required and the work that's required that makes it difficult. Like I do believe that anyone can do it, and
Yep.
and it is quite simple. but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. Basically, to do it over and over and over for years and decades, that's where it's not easy. For anyone can do it for a year or maybe 2 years, and it's always like, your true character shows when, like, the chips are down. When you're having a down year, how do you come back from that down year? Like, everybody can like do really well in a bull market, but what happens, like, how do you deal with a bear market? So that is one thing I think I learned. Although, like I said, like 2021, 2022 bear market, I didn't do really well. But 2025, like you can say, kind of like I got out pretty much near the top. I was able to kind of use some of my experience, and like so rather than like other than the deep seek era, which came out of nowhere, which is a black swan, February drawdown, I literally got back or got out on that Friday when the markets were kind of breaking down. So kind of like I felt like I improved there. I didn't even take a single drawdown. Pretty much this whole entire February till April, I didn't get chopped out. I got back into the winners, Palantir, Hood, MSTR, CrowdStrike, some of these names. I felt like this bull market and this bear market is where I felt like I truly became a trader. I handled it pretty well. That's the impression I got.
Awesome, man. I'm incredibly excited to see what the future holds, and I'm even more excited to interact together along with the journey and find some of these winners together, man.
And
So,
absolutely, like I still cannot believe that I'm actually doing an interview as a trader. I like it truly feels like
you're
Dude,
the you're the man.
phenomenal interview.
You're the man.
Phenomenal,
You're the
seriously.
man. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Like, I mean, like I said, like, you guys will probably be my buddies forever. Like the fact that like you guys were the
Thank
first
you,
to
man.
respect me as a trader. You know what I mean?
Thank
So
you, man. A whole hell of a lot, by the way. But
appreciate it.
just so you know. So,
Thank you guys. Thank
all
you. I
right.
appreciate
Thank
it a
you,
lot.
guys. Hey, we'll talk this week.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Raka.